Captain Hannah stood on the bridge of the survey vessel watching the endless void of space. Her fingers gripped the command chair as she stared at the red warning lights that filled her screen. The boundary markers stretched across the darkness, like a wall of fire. Each beacon pulsed with the same message in 17 different languages. Warning. Human space ahead. Authorized personnel only. Lethal force authorized. She had heard those words 1,000 times in the past month. Every ship in the galaxy knew them by heart. But today felt different. But today the Council had given her orders that made her stomach twist with fear. "Captain, we are holding position at the outer marker," said Navigator Woojin from his station. His voice was steady, but Hannah could see the tension in his shoulders. "All systems show normal readings." Communications Officer Mira turned from her console. "Captain, the automated signals are still broadcasting. No change in frequency or pattern." She paused and looked at the main screen. It has been 50 years since anyone crossed that line and came back to tell about it. Security Chief Doyan walked up beside Hannah. His large frame cast a shadow over her chair. "The crew is getting nervous. They know something big is happening. Word spreads fast on a ship this size." Hannah nodded and looked at the data pad in her hand. The orders from the Galactic Council were clear, but terrifying. Strange energy readings were coming from deep inside human space. Something was happening in there, and the Council wanted answers. "Tell me about the energy readings again," she said to Woojin. The navigator pulled up the sensor data on the main screen. "The readings started 3 weeks ago. They are unlike anything we have seen before. The energy patterns do not match any known technology." Myra added, "The signals are coming from multiple locations inside human space. Some are near the boundary. Others are coming from what used to be Earth." Hannah felt a chill run down her spine. Earth, the human homeworld that had been attacked 50 years ago. The planet that had started everything. Captain Doyan said quietly, "The other species are getting worried. The Vethans have moved their crystal ships further from the boundary. The Korvash have pulled back their scout fleets. Even the Lernians are avoiding this sector." She knew he was right. The 3 major alien races that controlled most of the galaxy were all afraid of whatever was happening in human space. The crystalline Vethans with their advanced technology. The hive-minded Korvash with their massive fleets. The energy-based Lernians, who could travel through space without ships. All of them kept their distance from the red line that marked human territory. "Captain, incoming transmission from Council Command," Myra announced. "Put it through." Screen changed to show Council Admiral Kalek of the Vethan species. His crystal body glowed with a cold blue light. "Captain Hannah, what is your status?" "We are holding position at the outer marker, Admiral. All systems ready for the mission." "Good. Remember, this is a reconnaissance mission only. You are not to engage any human vessels. You are not to cross the inner boundary markers. Get the information we need and return immediately." "Understood, Admiral." Hannah paused. "Sir, what exactly are we looking for?" The Admiral's crystal form flickered. "We need to know if the humans are preparing for another reckoning. The energy readings suggest they are building something that could threaten the entire galaxy." The transmission ended, and the bridge fell silent. Another reckoning. The words sent fear through every member of the crew. Captain Woojin said softly, "What if we find something we are not prepared for?" Hannah looked at her crew. These were good people. They had families waiting for them back home. They trusted her to keep them safe. But the Council had chosen her ship for this mission because she was the only captain who had studied the old records. She was the only one who knew the real story of what happened 50 years ago. "Mira, bring up the historical files on the first contact incident." "Yes, Captain." The main screen showed old footage from 50 years ago. Human ships that looked primitive compared to modern vessels. The first meeting between humans and the Korvash Collective, the failed negotiations, the bioweapon attack that killed billions on Earth. "This is what we know," Hannah said to her crew. The Korvash attacked Earth with biological weapons. They thought humans were just another weak species that could be easily conquered. They were wrong. The footage showed the aftermath. Human ships disappearing into their own space. The boundary markers going up. the automated defense systems that destroyed any alien ship that came too close. What happened next is still classified, Hannah continued. But we know the humans activated something called the protocol. We know that alien fleets sent to finish the job never returned. We know that the survivors who escaped reported seeing impossible things. Doyan crossed his arms. What kind of impossible things? Ships that appeared out of nowhere. Weapons that bent space itself. Technology that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. Hannah turned to face her crew. The aliens. Who survived were so terrified that they convinced every species in the galaxy to stay away from human space. And now we are going in there, Wujin said. No, Hannah corrected. We are going to the edge. They're going to scan and observe. We are going to find out what those energy readings mean. She looked at each of her crew members. I need to know that you are all with me. This mission is dangerous. The council would not have sent us if it was not important. One by one, her crew nodded. We're afraid, but they were ready. Mira, send a message to all stations. Prepare for approach to the inner boundary markers. All departments report ready status. Yes, Captain. As the ship moved forward, Hannah watched the boundary markers grow larger on the screen. Each beacon was the size of a small moon. They had been built by the humans as a warning to the galaxy. Stay away, or face the consequences. But today, Captain Hannah and her crew were going to find out what those consequences really were. They were going to look into the Forbidden Zone and discover what humanity had become in 50 years of isolation. The red warning lights flashed across the bridge as they approached the point of no return. In the distance, human space waited in silence, keeping its secrets hidden behind walls of light and fear. Admiral Jiho stood on the bridge of the human flagship, watching the alien fleet approach. The Corvash vessels were massive, their dark holes blocking out the stars. This was humanity's first real contact with another intelligent species, and Jiho felt the weight of history on his shoulders. Admiral, the alien ships are requesting communication, said Lieutenant Commander Su Yang from her tactical station. Her young face was focused and serious. This was her first deep space assignment, and she had studied every report about the approaching aliens. Open the channel, Jiho ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing the insect-like face of a Corvash commander. Its compound eyes glowed with an inner light, and its mandibles clicked as it spoke. I am Hive Commander Vextal of the Corvash Collective. You will surrender your world to our authority. Your species will serve the greater good of the Hive. Admiral. Jiho stepped forward. I am Admiral Jiho of the Earth Defense Force. We are a peaceful species, but we will not surrender our world to anyone. The alien commander's mandibles clicked faster. You misunderstand, Primitive One. This is not a negotiation. It's an announcement. Your world has been selected for integration into our collective. Integration? Su Yang whispered. What does that mean? The alien seemed to hear her. Integration means your species will be modified to serve our needs. Those who are useful will be kept alive. Those who are not will be removed. Admiral Jiho felt his blood run cold. You're talking about genocide. We are talking about efficiency. The alien replied, Your species shows promise, but you are too independent, too chaotic. We will fix these problems. The communication ended, and the bridge fell silent. Jiho looked at his crew and saw the fear in their eyes. They had hoped for peaceful contact with aliens. Instead, they had found creatures who saw humans as nothing more than resources to be harvested. Admiral Su Yang said quietly, What are our orders? Jiho activated the ship's communication system. All vessels. This is Admiral Jiho. The aliens have declared their intention to attack Earth. We will defend our world with everything we have. The battle that followed was hopeless from the start. The human fleet was outnumbered 10-1. Their weapons barely scratched the alien holes. Their shields failed under the massive alien bombardment. Su Yang watched in horror as human ships exploded around them. Admiral, we are losing. The aliens are not even trying. They're playing with us. Keep fighting, Jiho ordered. Every minute we delay them is another minute for Earth to prepare. But Earth was not preparing for battle. Earth was preparing For something much worse, Dr. Kuhn sat in his underground laboratory watching the reports from the space battle. The aliens had been very clear about their plans. They would conquer Earth, but not through military force. They would use biological weapons to break human resistance. "Doctor, the alien bioweapons have been detected in our atmosphere," reported his assistant. "They are spreading faster than we predicted." Dr. Kuhn nodded. He had been expecting this. The aliens were not interested in destroying Earth. They wanted to keep the planet intact while removing or changing its inhabitants. "How long do we have?" he asked. "The bioweapons will reach lethal concentrations in major cities within 6 hours. Global saturation within 12 hours. Dr. Kung looked at the sealed container on his desk. Inside was a small device that looked like nothing more than a metal cube. But this cube contained the work of humanity's greatest scientists. It contained the protocol. "Sir," his assistant said, "General Taeyong is here to see you." The general entered the laboratory still wearing his battle uniform. His face was grim. "Doctor, the space battle is over. Admiral Jiho's fleet has been destroyed. The aliens are beginning their atmospheric bombardment." "Then it is time," Dr. Kuhn said. General Taeyong nodded. "The President has authorized the protocol. All surviving military units are moving to the protected zones. The civilian population is being evacuated to the underground shelters." "They will not be enough," Dr. Kung said. "The alien bioweapons are too advanced. They will penetrate our defenses." "I know," the general replied. "That is why we need the protocol to work." Dr. Kuhn picked up the metal cube. "General, are you certain about this? Once we activate the protocol, there is no going back. Humanity will never be the same." "Doctor, look at the reports. The aliens are not just attacking Earth. They are attacking every human colony. They are trying to wipe out our entire species." The general's voice was hard. "We have no choice." The two men walked to the center of the laboratory where a massive computer system waited. This was the heart of the protocol, the secret project that humanity had been working on since they first looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. The protocol was designed for exactly this situation, Dr. Kuhn explained, as he connected the cube to the computer. "It will change everything about human space. It will make us impossible to attack using conventional methods." "What exactly will it do?" the general asked. "It will rewrite the laws of physics within human territory. It will make space itself defend us. It will turn our entire region of the galaxy into a fortress that no alien force can penetrate." The computer system hummed to life. Warning lights flashed across the control panels. Protocol was activating. Above them, the alien bioweapons continued to fall like rain. Cities began to die. Billions of humans collapsed as the alien toxins entered their bodies. The Korvash Collective had calculated that it would take exactly 18 hours to break human resistance completely. They were wrong. The protocol activated 12 hours after the bioweapon attack began. The effect was immediate and terrifying. Space around Earth began to ripple like water. The laws of physics that had governed the universe for billions of years suddenly changed. The Korvash fleet found themselves trapped in a region of space where their technology no longer worked. Their ships began to malfunction. Their weapons failed to fire. Their communication systems went silent. Commander Vextel watched in horror as his massive fleet began to fall apart. "What is happening? How are the humans doing this?" His science officer was studying the sensor readings. "Commander, space itself is changing. The humans have somehow altered the fundamental forces of reality." "That is impossible," Vexel replied.
Yes.
"Commander, it should be impossible, but it is happening." The alien fleet tried to escape, but it was too late. The protocol had created a barrier around human space that nothing could cross. The Korvash ships that tried to flee simply vanished, destroyed by forces that their science could not understand. Dr. Kuhn watched the readings from his underground laboratory. The protocol was working perfectly. The alien fleet was being systematically destroyed by the changed laws of physics. But the cost was enormous. "Doctor," his assistant said, "the bioweapons are still killing people. The protocol is not stopping them." "No," Dr. Kuhn replied sadly. "The protocol can only change space, not reverse what has already been done. Billions will die before this is over." General Taeyong placed a hand on the doctor's shoulder.
What?
Humanity will survive, and we will never be victims again. The two men stood in silence, watching as their species paid the ultimate price for survival. The reckoning had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Intelligence operative Sun Ho moved through the shadows of Research Station Omega like a ghost. His mission was simple, but dangerous. The Galactic Council needed to know what the other species were really thinking about the human situation. They were hiding, but they were planning. The station sat at the edge of known space, far from the major trade routes. Officially, it was a scientific research facility studying cosmic radiation. Unofficially, it was the galaxy's most secret intelligence gathering center. Every major species had agents here, all pretending to be scientists while they watched each other and waited for information about the humans. Sun Ho had spent 3 months earning his cover identity as a junior researcher. He cleaned laboratory equipment, organized data files, and listened to every conversation around him. Tonight, he was finally going to learn the truth. Dr. Yuna sat alone in her laboratory, staring at data screens filled with impossible readings. She was the station's leading xenobiologist, officially studying alien plant life. But Sun Ho knew her real work involved something much more dangerous. "Dr. Yuna," he said softly, entering her lab, "you are working late again." She looked up, her tired eyes focusing on him. "Sun Ho, I did not hear you come in." She gestured to the screens around her. "These readings are keeping me awake. I cannot make sense of them." "What kind of readings?" he asked, moving closer. Dr. Yuna hesitated, then seemed to make a decision. "Promise me you will not repeat what I am about to show you. This information could start a war." Sun Ho nodded. "I promise." She activated a holographic display that showed the boundary of human space. "For the past 5 years, we have been sending automated probes toward the human boundary. Most of them are destroyed before they get close, but a few have returned. With data, the display changed to show sensor readings that made no sense, energy patterns that violated known physics, matter readings that suggested space itself was different inside human territory." "What am I looking at?" Sun Ho asked. "Evidence that the humans have not just survived," Dr. Yuna replied. "They have become something we do not understand. Look at these readings from last month." The screen showed a probe's final transmission before it was destroyed. The images were blurry, but they showed structures in space that seemed to bend light around them. Ships that appeared and disappeared without warning. Technology that looked like it was made of solid energy. The probe was destroyed by something that our sensors could not even detect. Dr. Yuna continued.
Oh.
One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. It's no explosion, no debris, just gone. Sun Ho studied the data carefully. "Has this information been shared with the council? It's only the basic readings? The full data is classified above my level." Dr. Yuna lowered her voice. "But I have heard rumors. The Vethans have lost 3 deep space exploration fleets near human space. The Corvash stopped sending scout ships after half their reconnaissance force disappeared. Even the Lernians avoid that entire sector. Disappeared how? That is what nobody wants to talk about. Ships enter human space and simply vanish. No distress calls. No wreckage. Nothing." Sun Ho felt a chill run down his spine. How many ships? Over the past 50 years? Hundreds? Maybe thousands? Every species in the galaxy has lost vessels near human space, but nobody talks about it publicly. It is an open secret that everyone pretends not to know. Dr. Yuna activated another display. "But the real concern is not the ships we have lost. It is what we have detected coming from human space." The new display showed communication intercepts, fragments of human transmissions that had been picked up by listening posts around the galaxy. Communications specialist Inha has been working on these intercepts for years, Dr. Yuna explained. What she has discovered is terrifying. What did she find? The humans are not just hiding behind their barriers. They are building something enormous. The display showed translation attempts of human communications. Words and phrases that made no sense to alien scientists. Stellar engineering, projects, dimensional research, space-time manipulation, quantum reconstruction. We do not know what these terms mean, Dr. Yuna admitted. But our linguists believe the humans are talking about technology that can change the structure of space itself. Sunho stared at the translations. You think they are building weapons? We think they are building something that makes weapons irrelevant. Dr. Yuna's voice was barely a whisper. The energy readings we detect suggest they are generating power on a scale we thought was impossible. They are consuming the energy output of entire stars. For what purpose? We do not know. But the power requirements suggest they are either building massive defensive systems or preparing for something that will require enormous amounts of energy. Sunho thought about the implications. If the humans have this kind of technology, why have they not used it against us? That is what everyone is asking, and that is what makes this situation so dangerous. Dr. Yuna turned to face him directly. The humans have had 50 years to develop their technology in isolation. They have shown they can destroy entire fleets. They have power sources that dwarf anything we possess. They have not attacked anyone. Maybe they are peaceful. Maybe they are planning something so big that they need all their resources to prepare for it. Dr. Yuna's expression was grim. The Galactic Council is terrified that the humans are preparing for revenge. A final reckoning that will destroy every species that participated in the original attack. Sunho processed this information. How many species were involved in the original attack? Officially, just the Korvash? Unofficially? Almost everyone. The Vethans provided intelligence. The Lernians offered logistical support. Dozens of smaller species contributed ships or resources. The entire galaxy wanted to see humanity eliminated. Now the entire galaxy is afraid of what humanity might do about it. Exactly. Dr. Yuna stood up and walked to the window that looked out toward human space. We created our own worst enemy, tried to destroy them, and instead we forced them to become something beyond our comprehension. At that moment, communications. Specialist Inha entered the laboratory. She was carrying a datapad and her face was pale with fear. Dr. Yuna, she said urgently, we have a problem. A big problem. What is it? I have been monitoring the human transmissions as usual, but something has changed. The communications pattern is different. Different how? Inha activated her datapad and connected it to the laboratory display. For 50 years, the human communications have been internal. Ships talking to bases, bases talking to each other. Normal traffic for a civilization managing their territory. And now they are sending messages outward, toward the rest of the galaxy. They are trying to communicate with us. The three of them stared at the display in silence. After 50 years of total isolation, the humans were reaching out to the galaxy. But nobody knew if they were offering peace or promising war. What do the messages say? Sunho asked. We are still trying to translate them, Inha replied. But the basic meaning is clear. The humans are asking for a meeting. They want to talk. Dr. Yuna sat down heavily. After 50 years, they want to talk. The question is whether we will survive the conversation. Outside the laboratory window, the stars continued to shine in the darkness. Somewhere among them, humanity waited with technology that could reshape reality itself. And now they wanted to talk. Ambassador Jin Wu stood at the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel, watching the human boundary markers grow larger. His hands were shaking slightly, though he tried to hide it from his crew. The Galactic Council had chosen him to lead the first official contact mission with humanity in 50 years. It was either the greatest honor of his career or his death sentence. Ambassador, we are approaching the outer boundary, reported cultural analyst Nari from her station. She had spent years studying old human communications, trying to understand how they thought and what they valued. All sensors show the warning beacons are still active. Technology expert Sungyan looked up from his console. The energy readings are incredible. These boundary markers are generating more power than some of our space stations. I have never seen anything like it. Military advisor Hunjin checked his tactical display. Ambassador, I must advise caution. Our weapon systems are already malfunctioning. Something is interfering with our technology. Jinwoo nodded. That is expected. We knew the humans had developed defensive systems. Our mission is diplomacy, not warfare. Nari said quietly, Are you certain the humans will not simply destroy us the moment we cross the boundary? I am not certain of anything, Jinwoo replied honestly. But the humans sent a message requesting this meeting. They could have ignored us for another 50 years. The fact that they want to talk suggests they are ready for contact. The ship crossed the first boundary marker, and immediately every system on the vessel began to behave strangely. Lights flickered. Gravity fluctuated. The air recycling system made unusual noises. What is happening? Jinwoo asked. The humans are scanning us, Sungyeon reported. But not with any technology I recognize. It feels like they are examining every molecule of our ship. Suddenly, the main display activated on its own. A human face appeared on the screen. The alien crew had expected to see a mutated creature, something twisted by 50 years of isolation and conflict. Instead, they saw a perfectly normal human man with kind eyes and a calm expression. "Welcome to human space," the human said in perfect Galactic standard language. "I am Commander Young-ho. We have been expecting you." Jinwoo stepped forward. "Commander, I am Ambassador Jinwoo of the Galactic Council. We come in peace seeking dialogue. We know who you are, Ambassador. We know why you are here. Please follow the navigation beacon to the meeting coordinates." The transmission ended, leaving the alien crew staring at each other in confusion. "That was not what I expected," Hyunjin said. "What did you expect?" Nari asked. "I expected them to be angry, hostile, changed by what happened to them." Hyunjin shook his head. That human looked exactly like the ones from 50 years ago. No mutations, no visible signs of the bioweapon attack. "Maybe they found a way to cure the effects," Sungyeon suggested. "Or maybe they found a way to become immune to biological weapons entirely," Jinwoo replied grimly. The ship followed the navigation beacon deeper into human space. As they traveled, the crew watched in amazement as the region around them transformed. Space itself seemed different here. Stars were arranged in patterns that should not exist. Energy fields created bridges between distant planets. Structures that appeared to be made of solid light drifted past their ship. Ambassador Nari whispered, "This is impossible. They have turned empty space into a garden." "Look at the energy readings," Sungyeon added. "They're manipulating matter at the quantum level. They are rewriting the laws of physics in real time." A new navigation beacon guided them to a space station that defied description. It was enormous, easily the size of a small moon, but it appeared to be made of crystallized energy. Ships moved around it that seemed to phase in and out of existence. "Incoming transmission," Nari reported. The screen showed Commander Young-ho again. "Ambassador, please prepare your ship for docking. We will bring you aboard." "How will we dock with that station?" Jinwoo asked. "Our docking ports are not compatible with anything I see." "Do not worry about compatibility," Young-ho replied. "We'll handle the technical details." The alien ship was suddenly surrounded by a field of soft light. The crew felt a strange sensation, as if they were being lifted by invisible hands. When the sensation ended, they found themselves inside a docking bay that looked like it was carved from solid diamond. "How did they do that?" Sungyeon asked in amazement. "They transported our entire ship inside their station without us feeling any movement," Hyunjin replied. "That level of technology should be impossible." Commander Young-ho met them at the airlock. He was accompanied by 3 other humans, a woman in scientific robes, a man in military uniform, and another woman who appeared to be a diplomat. "Ambassador Jinwoo," Young-ho said, extending his hand in the traditional human greeting. "Welcome to Deep Space Station Unity. I am Commander Young-ho, Station Commander. This is Dr. Yoonbi, our Chief Scientist, Colonel Min-seok, our Military Liaison, and Diplomat Su-yang, who will be handling the formal negotiations." Jinwoo shook the offered hand, surprised by how normal it felt. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Commander. We have many questions." "Yeah, I'm sure you do," Young-ho replied. "As do we. Please, follow me to the conference room." As they walked through the station, the alien delegation tried to understand what they were seeing. Corridors were filled with humans who looked healthy and normal. There were no signs of the devastating bioweapon attack that had killed billions. 50 years ago?" Commander Nari asked. If I may ask, what happened to the humans who were affected by the bioweapons? Dr. Yunbi answered, "We cured them. All of them. The bioweapons were designed to be permanent, but we found ways to reverse the damage completely." "How is that possible?" Sungyin asked. "We learned to manipulate biological systems at the cellular level," Dr. Yunbi explained. "When you can rewrite the laws of physics, curing disease becomes relatively simple." They entered a conference room that overlooked the space around the station. Through the transparent walls, they could see human ships moving through space in ways that defied physics. Some ships appeared to be traveling faster than light without using conventional engines. Others seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously. "Please sit, diplomat," Su Yang said, gesturing to chairs that appeared to be made of solid energy but felt completely normal. "Ambassador," Colonel Minseok said, "before we begin formal negotiations, there is something you need to understand. The attack on Earth 50 years ago was not an isolated incident. It was a test." "A test?" Jinwoo asked. "The Korvash were testing whether humanity was worth keeping alive, whether we would submit to their authority or fight back." Minseok's expression was serious. "They failed that test, but so did the rest of the galaxy." "What do you mean?" "Vethin provided intelligence about our defenses. The Lernians offered logistical support. Dozens of other species contributed resources to the attack." Minseok looked directly at each member of the alien delegation. "The entire galaxy wanted to see humanity eliminated. That was the test, and you all failed." Jinwoo felt his heart sink. "How do you know this?" "We've been watching," Dr. Yunbi said simply. "For 50 years, we have been studying every species in the galaxy. We know your technologies, your cultures, your weaknesses. We know everything about you. But you know nothing about us," Commander Young-ho added. "That was intentional. We needed time to prepare." "Prepare for what?" Hyunjin asked. "For this moment," Diplomat Su Yang replied. "For the moment when we decided whether to offer you a second chance or to end this conversation permanently." The alien delegation sat in stunned silence. They had come expecting to negotiate with desperate survivors. Instead, they'd found a civilization that had transcended their understanding and was now sitting in judgment of the entire galaxy. "What do you want from us?" Jinwoo asked quietly. "We want to know if you have learned anything from your mistakes," Young-ho replied. "We want to know if the galaxy is ready for a second chance, and if we have not learned." The four humans exchanged glances. "Then this conversation ends," Su Yang said, "and you return to your space with our final answer, which would be that humanity remembers everything, and that we are no longer the victims in this story." The conference room fell silent as the weight of humanity's words settled over the alien delegation. The test had begun, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Council Representative Jayan stared out the window of the human transport ship as Earth came into view. What he saw made his mind struggle to accept reality. This was not the devastated world he had expected to find. This was something beyond his wildest imagination. Cities floated in the sky like jewels suspended in blue crystal. Massive structures connected the floating cities with bridges made of pure energy. The oceans glowed with a soft light that seemed to pulse with life itself. Above it all, rings of light circled the planet like halos of living fire. "This cannot be real," he whispered. Human guide Sioyan smiled beside him. "I understand your confusion. Most visitors have the same reaction when they see Earth for the first time." "But the bioweapons," Jaeon said. "The attack killed billions of people. The planet should be a wasteland," Sioyan replied calmly. "For exactly 18 months, Earth was a dead world. No plants, no animals, no humans. The bioweapons were very thorough. Then how is this possible? We brought everything back. Every person who died, every plant that withered, every animal that perished." Soyan gestured to the magnificent world below them. "Death is no longer permanent for humanity." Jayan felt his legs go weak. "You can bring back the dead? You can do much more than that. When you control the fundamental forces of reality, death becomes just another problem to solve." The transport ship descended toward one of the floating cities. As they approached, Jaeon could see that the buildings were not made of any material he recognized. They seemed to be constructed from crystallized light that changed color as he watched. The buildings are alive, Suyin explained. They grow and change according to the needs of the people inside them. They repair themselves. They generate their own energy. They are part of the planetary consciousness. Planetary consciousness? Earth itself is now a living entity. The planet thinks. It feels. It protects its children. Suyin's eyes glowed with pride. We did not just rebuild our world, we made it better. The transport ship landed on a platform that appeared from thin air as they approached. The air was not just clean, it was energizing. He felt stronger, healthier, more alive than he had ever felt before. The atmosphere is enhanced, Sioen explained. It heals injury and prevents disease. The date extends life and improves mental clarity. Everyone who breathes Earth's air becomes better than they were. As they walked through the city streets, and Jayan saw humans who looked like gods. They were beautiful beyond description, but more than that, they radiated an inner peace and wisdom that was almost overwhelming. Children played games that involved moving objects with their minds. Adults worked on projects that seemed to bend space around them. How did you become like this? Jayan asked. The reckoning changed us, Siwon replied. When we activated the protocol, it did not just change space around us. It changed us as well. I evolved into what? Into what humanity was. Always meant to become, they entered a massive building that seemed to stretch up into the clouds. Inside, Jahan saw humans working with technology that looked like magic. Holographic displays showed star systems being rearranged. Energy fields contained what appeared to be miniature universes. Scientists manipulated matter by thinking about it. This is our primary research facility, Sioen explained. Here we study the nature of reality itself. We have learned to create new forms of matter. We have discovered how to travel between dimensions. We found ways to communicate with the universe directly. Why are you showing me this? Jayan asked. Because you need to understand what the galaxy is dealing with. You need to know what humanity has become, so you can make an informed decision. What decision? Sioen led him to an observation deck that looked out over the entire planet. The decision of whether to accept our offer or face the consequences. Of refusing it. At that moment, human leader Dong Yun appeared on the observation deck. He seemed to materialize from the air itself. But Jayan was beginning to understand that for humans, impossible things were simply normal. Representative Jayan Dong Yun said in a voice that seemed to resonate with the authority of the universe itself. Welcome to Earth. I trust your visit has been educational. Has been overwhelming, Jahan replied honestly. Good you. Needed to see what 50 years of focused development can accomplish when a species is motivated by survival. Dong Yun gestured to the world around them. Everything you see here was built in the decades following the reckoning. We had no choice but to advance rapidly. Could not allow ourselves to remain vulnerable. The technology you have developed, Jayan said, it seems impossible. Impossible is a word used by species who have not learned to think beyond their limitations. Dong Yun's expression was serious. We learned to think beyond all limitations. We had to. What do you want from the galaxy? That is the wrong question, Dong Yun replied. The right question is what the galaxy wants from us. Do not understand, Representative Jayan. Humanity has become the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. We have technology that can reshape reality. We have knowledge that can solve every problem your species face. We have the power to defend ourselves against any threat. Dong Yun walked to the edge of the observation deck and looked out at the stars. But we remember what happened 50 years ago. We remember who attacked us. We remember who supported that attack. We remember who stood by and watched while billions of humans died. Jayan felt a chill run through him. You want revenge? No, Dong Yun said, turning back to face him. Revenge is what weak species seek. We are no longer weak. Then what do you want? You want the galaxy to prove it has learned from its mistakes. You want every species to demonstrate that they have grown beyond the primitive thinking that led to the reckoning. Sioen stepped forward. The attack on humanity was not about resources or territory. It was about fear. The other species were afraid of what humans might become. They tried to destroy us before we could become a threat. And now we have become exactly what they feared, Dong-Yun added. We have become more powerful than all of them combined. The question is what we do with that power. What are the options? Jayan asked. There are 3 possibilities, Dong-Yun explained. First, we could use our power to destroy every species that participated in the attack. This would be simple and would ensure our security permanently. Jayan felt terror grip his heart. And the second option. We could remain isolated in human space and let the galaxy continue as it has. We could ignore the suffering and conflict that plague the other species and focus only on our own development. That does not sound like humanity. You are correct. It does not. Dong-Yun smiled for the first time. Which brings us to the third option, which is we could use our power to help the galaxy become better. We could share our knowledge and technology with species that prove they are ready for it. We could guide the development of galactic civilization towards something greater than what exists now, Sion added. But this option requires trust. It requires the other species to admit their mistakes and work to correct them. It requires them to accept human leadership in areas where we have advanced beyond their capabilities. And if they refuse, then we implement option 1. Dong-Yun said simply. Jae-Yun looked out at the magnificent world around him and tried to process what he had learned. Humanity had not just survived the reckoning. They had used it to transcend every limitation that had held them back. They had become gods. How long do we have to decide? He asked. The decision has already been made, Dong-Yun replied. Today, we begin contacting every species in the galaxy. We'll offer them the same choice we are. Offering you, join us in building a better future, or face the consequences of remaining trapped in the past. What if some species choose to fight? Then they will learn why no species dares enter human space, Sioyan said quietly. As if summoned by her words, the sky above Earth filled with ships. Thousands of them. Ships that looked like they were made of starlight itself. Ships that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Ships that radiated power beyond imagination. This is our fleet, Dong-Yun explained. Every ship is capable of destroying entire star systems. Every captain can rewrite the laws of physics in their local space. Every crew member has abilities that would make them gods by the standards of 50 years ago. And all of this was built in response to one attack. All of this was built to ensure that such an attack could never happen again. Dong-Yun's voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Humanity will never again be the victim in any story. Jaeon stared at the fleet in the sky and understood that the galaxy had entered a new age. An age where humanity would decide the fate of every species among the stars. The reckoning was complete, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Great Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council had never seen anything like this before. Representatives from every species in the galaxy sat in stunned silence as President GA of Humanity stood at the center podium. Beside her stood her most trusted advisors, Strategic Counselor Sung Jae and Technology Minister Cha Yung, for the first time in 50 years. Humans had come to the galactic capital, but they had not come as supplicants seeking help. They had come as the new power in the galaxy, offering terms that could not be refused. Members of the Galactic Council, President GA began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. 50 years ago, you made a choice. You chose to support the extermination of humanity. Today, we offer you a different choice. The assembled delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Corvash delegation looked terrified. The Vethin crystals flickered with nervous energy. Even the proud Lernians seemed diminished in the presence of humanity's representatives. Could have come here with weapons, President GA continued. We could have demanded revenge for the billions you killed. We could have destroyed every world that participated in the attack on Earth. Council Leader Vex High of the Vethans stood slowly. President GA, we understand that humanity has grievances. We are prepared to discuss reparations. Reparations? Sung Jae stepped forward, his voice cold. You think this is about money? You think you can pay for the lives of 3 billion humans? What do you want from us? Asked Hive Leader Corthana of the Corvash, her compound eyes reflecting fear. We want you to prove that you have evolved beyond the primitive thinking that led to the reckoning, President GA replied. We want you to show us that you are capable of becoming something better than what you are. How? Vexai asked. Technology Minister Che-Yung activated a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. It showed the current state of the galaxy, wars raging between species, worlds dying from pollution and resource depletion, billions of beings suffering from diseases that could be easily cured. Look at your galaxy, Chom said. 500 species, and not one has learned to live in peace with the others. Your technology advances slowly because you spend your resources on weapons instead of research. Your people suffer because you care more about profit than progress. This is what happens when inferior species try to govern themselves, Sunjae added. This is why the attack on humanity was inevitable. You saw a species with potential, and your first instinct was to destroy it. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Delegates stood and shouted protests. Some called the humans arrogant. Others demanded they leave immediately. President GA raised her hand, and instantly every voice in the chamber fell silent. The gesture was small, but every delegate felt the enormous power behind it. They realized that she had not asked for silence. She had commanded it, and the universe itself had obeyed. You are proving our point, she said calmly. Even now, faced with your obvious failures, you respond with anger instead of wisdom. What do you propose? Asked Energy Lord Thaxel of the Lernians, his form flickering with nervous light. We propose a new form of galactic government, President GA replied. A system where decisions are made based on logic and compassion rather than fear and greed. The holographic display changed to show a detailed plan for restructuring galactic civilization, shared technology that could end poverty and disease, educational systems that would advance every species simultaneously, peaceful resolution systems that would make war obsolete. This is beautiful in theory, Vexi said carefully. But who would lead such a system? Those who have proven they are capable of leadership, Sungjai replied. Those who have transcended the limitations that hold the rest of you back. You mean humanity would rule the galaxy, Corthana said. We mean humanity would guide the galaxy, President GA corrected. There is a difference between ruling through force and leading through wisdom. And if we refuse, asked Vexai. The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew this was the crucial moment. The moment when humanity would reveal their true intentions. If you refuse, President GA said slowly, then you will remain as you are, trapped in your cycles of violence and ignorance. But you will no longer be permitted to threaten those who seek to grow beyond such limitations. That sounds like a threat, Thaxel said. It is a promise, Chao Yung replied. Any species that chooses war over peace will find their weapons useless. Any government that oppresses its people will find its power broken. Any civilization that seeks to destroy others will find itself isolated and unable to harm anyone. You would police the entire galaxy, Corthana asked in disbelief. We already do, Sungai said simply. For the past 20 years, humanity has prevented 17 wars, stopped 12 genocides, and quietly eliminated dozens of weapons that could have destroyed entire star systems. The delegates stared at him in shock. You did not know because we did not want you to know, President GA explained. We have been protecting you from yourselves while we decided whether you were worth saving. And what is your decision? Vexai asked quietly. President GA looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives of galactic civilization. Our decision is that every species deserves a chance to become better than they are. But that chance comes with conditions. Holographic display changed again, showing a document that looked like a treaty. This is the new covenant, President GA announced. Any species that signs this agreement accepts humanity's guidance in matters of technology, education, and conflict resolution. In return, you gain access to knowledge that will transform your civilization. What kind of knowledge? Asked a delegate from the minor Zethan Republic. The knowledge to cure any disease, Chayung replied. The technology to travel between stars as easily as walking between rooms. The ability to communicate directly with the consciousness of your planets. The power to reshape matter at the molecular level. Everything we have learned we will share, President GA added. But only with those who prove they will use such gifts responsibly. And how do we prove that? HFY asked. By abandoning the weapons and policies that have kept your species primitive, Sungai replied. By committing to peaceful cooperation with other species. By accepting that your old ways of thinking are no longer adequate. This is not really a choice, Corthana said bitterly. You are forcing us to submit to your authority, no President. GA said firmly. You always have a choice. You can choose to grow or choose to remain stagnant. You can choose cooperation or choose isolation. You can choose wisdom or choose ignorance. But we cannot choose to remain as we are and continue threatening others, Thaxel said. Correct. That option is no longer available. The chamber fell silent as the delegates considered their options. Finally, Vex High stood. The Vethan Collective. We'll sign the new covenant, he announced. One by one, other delegates stood and announced their acceptance. Some did so eagerly, seeing the opportunity for advancement. Others did so reluctantly, recognizing that they had no real choice. When the session ended, more than 400 species had agreed to join the new Galactic Order. Only a few dozen chose isolation over cooperation, as the delegates filed out. Of the chamber, Human Ambassador Hionu took the podium for the final announcement. To those species who have chosen to join us, welcome to a new age of galactic civilization. Your journey toward transcendence begins today. To those who have chosen isolation, your decision will be respected. But understand that you will be watched. Any attempt to harm others will be stopped immediately. And to any species that might consider challenging this new order. Remember this. The galaxy tried to destroy humanity once before. The result was that humanity became powerful enough to reshape reality itself. Hyona's voice carried the weight of absolute certainty as he delivered humanity's final message to the galaxy. The age of chaos is over. The age of war is finished. The age of suffering is ending. Humanity has returned to the galaxy not as conquerors, but as guardians. We will ensure that the strong protect the weak. We will make certain that knowledge advances faster than weapons. We'll guarantee that. No species ever again faces the choice between submission and extinction. The galaxy will never again threaten humanity. But more importantly, humanity will ensure that the galaxy never again threatens anyone. As the last delegates left the chamber, the old Galactic Order died, and a new one was born. An order where humanity stood as both protector and guide, ensuring that the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. The reckoning was complete, and the galaxy had been forever changed.